finding out that I had autism was probably one of the biggest helps in my life ever. Because when I was younger, when I had like teachers or that like trying to explain stuff to me, I just could not actually get to grips with what people were saying. Like people would talk to me, say like in a classroom, trying to explain to me, doing maths and English, and it would just go over my head. I just couldn't concentrate, I'd fidget, and I found myself then getting into trouble. But when I did like things like woodwork, because it was visual, because it was hands-on, and that I could actually focus, and you know, I become really good at it. Just like sports, I was very good at rugby, you play for school, counting, what else. But anything like people just physically trying to explain stuff to me, I just switch off. I just could not concentrate. Now, I certainly had other thoughts and what else was at school, because I struggled with friends, I struggled with relationships and stuff like that. But as I got older as well, I kind of like took that with me as well into like, say like work. Because when I left school, I had the great opportunity to work with a guy called Richard Vincent, and we did like carpentry, building and stuff like that. And he wanted to put me through my MVQs. And I was doing really well. I was working on site all the time, started doing things, but I found ways once again to really like sabotage myself. I'd find like all the negatives and everything that I was doing. I was putting myself down, and I just found that I would work a way of trying to get out of what I was actually doing. Now, I never really thought about it at the time, like, oh, it was me trying to figure a way of trying to sabotage myself or anything else like that. It was just like my mindset. It was just slowly creeping in, digging away at me, and I would just end up, you know, giving up on what I was doing. And I did this quite a lot. I did this through that. I did it through plumbing and a host of other jobs that I said that I wanted to do and never actually really stuck to actually doing. And it was a really big problem in my work life, but it's also a problem, say, in my social life. Like say, like with relationships, if I, had a girlfriend or anything else like that, I would really struggle. Like she didn't like me, there's something going on. Not like as in like she was cheating on me or stuff like that, just like mentally, like I don't think I'm good enough. And that was one issue. And then like with friends, that was another problem as well, because like even though I had friends, I had people to go out with, mates who wanted to hang around with me and stuff, if I wanted to go out, like I couldn't ring people just in case they said no. I couldn't arrange things, so I'd just walk around the town by myself trying to find people, and then I'd just bump into them, and then I'd go, all right mate, so should we go out, yada yada. And I found that an easier way of coping than dealing with actually trying to like ring people and trying to speak to people on a phone. It was just such a weird thing, and I just could not understand why. And I suppose at this particular time I was kind of like thinking that most people thought like this. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't really feel that I was majorly different to anyone else. Now, progressing to when I got to a lot older, I ended up meeting my beautiful wife here in South Wales, and decided like this was kind of the time that I wanted to settle down. And I settled down and we had my beautiful daughter. Now, one thing I've learned from her was quite a lot in regards to how I actually thought, because we started noticing a lot of traits in her. Because as she started growing up, especially through the early years, she started doing things a lot differently to other kids. She'd be lining up toys in a certain way, and then if you moved them out of place while, say, like she was out going to the toilet, she would then quickly put them back into place. But when you actually asked her why she was setting these things up in these certain ways, it was just the way that she would describe it and answer the question. It was just completely different to what you'd expect a normal kid to actually say. Now, she was perfectly fine. We took her out, she had friends and everything else like that, but you could tell that she was a little bit different to everyone else in regards to how she was thinking and the way she thought about things. And then when she started going to primary school, then the teachers started to pick up on it, because especially when I was younger in school, the teachers did not really pick up on, the autism, ADHD or anything else from what they do, more like present sort of day. It's a lot more common knowledge, a lot more things that teachers have probably a little bit more taught on to actually to pick up on in classrooms. So she would be in a classroom, and just like me, they were trying to explain things to her, and it just go over her head. Completely, she'd be looking around, be twizzling her hair, she'd always be fidgeting on her seat and stuff like that. And they told us to go and get her checked. So we ended up getting checked and that, and we found out that she did have autism. And even though she's highly functioning, she talks, she went to a normal public school and everything else. She's in college now. She's got normal friends. She lives a normal life and what else. But, you know, just like me, she has those thoughts and the way that she's thinking. And she's learned now to control things in her ways. But from picking up those things of the way that she worked, it started really resonating with me of how I kind of think. But I will say, even at this time, I didn't really think about it. It was only till when we started getting in touch with my family side, because like I said to you before, the relationship side of me is always a hard one. If I haven't spoken to anyone for a while, like, you know, like families, aunties, uncles, whatever else like that, I couldn't ring them up. You know, because if something had happened, you know, because like someone had been ill, and I'm too scared to ring, I'm too scared to go through the chat about how they are and stuff. And it's just, it makes me look like I don't care when I do care. And then I then find ways then to keep separating, because I haven't spoken to them for a while now because they've moved and that I can't speak to them now. And I just found the years then just grew on and grew on. And I haven't spoken to particular family members for quite a while. But in the long run, we did manage to find our route back. And I started hooking up with my auntie. And she lives up in Scotland. And funny enough, she is a psychiatrist. And she does like, she used to do like retreats where she used to get people, you know, like marriages, you know, mental health, whatever. She get people in. She specialised really well because she used to have people in from American stuff. But she also worked with a lot of autistic kids, especially my cousin's stepson, who's heavily autistic, a lot more than what my daughter is. And she helped him on loads. Like, he lives a pretty normal life now. And before that, he used to struggle quite a lot. And so she got speaking to my daughter, and I asked, you know, could you help with her and that? Like, she would speak to her about her thoughts and yada yada, how to control them and yada yada. And then we were sat at a kitchen table one day and was talking about Esme to my auntie, and my auntie turned around to me and she said, you do know that she gets it from you. And it kind of like was a light bulb went off in my head. And I was, even though at the time I was kind of like thinking, you sure? She goes, 100%. She goes, you and her are two peas in a pod. The way you think, the way you talk, the way you explain things is exactly kind of like the same sort of, you know, mannerisms, so to speak. So we got talking, and she said the best thing you can do really is to get yourself tested. She did a test, I went off and got another one, and it found out that I was a high functioning autistic person. And this kind of like lit up, like I say, like a light bulb. It's just kind of like, it kind of gave me a second wind. It was weird because I kind of like thought, like, I knew there was a reason why I was thinking differently to other people. So I started looking into it a lot more. I never went off and worked with people or anything else like that. I felt like, you know, I'm older, I can really work on myself. And I started looking into it, and the reason why we have lots of thoughts going on in our head and whatnot. And there's a thing called, like I say, it's catastrophic thinking. So you just constantly, you have all these voices and whatnot else, but they're always negative most of the time. Like, unless you can control them and turn them around, a lot of it, like, you put yourself down, you're worried about what people are going to say. And I know, like, some people have these kind of traits anyway. It's just exaggerated if you're autistic and that. And it's just, you know, it's just been a plague in my life, so to speak. And it's not to make excuses, because, like, we all make choices along the way, and I probably could have made better ones as well. I can't put everything on that by no stretch of the imagination, but it certainly hasn't helped. But because I've learned this, I've learned now to work on myself, and that I need to, you know, take care of myself in a lot of mental ways. So I gave up drinking and that. Like, I don't go out. I do meditation, do breath work, I train, I can walk with my dog all the time and that lot. And like, now I've really controlled my thoughts to a certain degree. And in that regards now, it's helped me even thinking that of all the things that I really want to do. And like I said before, where I always could not focus on the jobs that I actually wanted to do, I knew that once I picked up a camera for the first time and I just fell in love with it, that this is the kind of things. And even though things have been up and down, this is the first time ever power in my whole entire life, that even though there's been lots of ups and downs, there's been quite a lot of downs, you know, money-wise and that, like trying to change careers while, you know, own a house and got kids and that lot and stuff. But this time, no, I've seen it out, and I'm making it happen, and I don't see any other thing happening, and I know that I'm actually going to make this work. So it's been an eye-opener, and I have to say that I hope that if anyone else out there is listening, whether or not like you have these kind of thoughts and stuff, that maybe you should get yourself checked, especially if you're like an older person like me, because when we were younger we didn't have the kind of people to pick out these kind of things before. So, you know, if you do think like this and stuff, you know, get some help, or look on YouTube for like some ideas and stuff like that of, you know, how to, you know, start thinking better. Because once you get control of your thoughts, I do really believe, like, you know, thoughts are things like manifestation and bringing things into your world. I think that now I've got like control of my thoughts to a certain degree, and they're not perfect. I certainly have like my down days where I have like, I hold on to a thought and I just make myself really depressed about it, and it hasn't even happened. I'm arguing with myself about a situation that's in the future for no reason whatsoever, and I've learned now to be able to try and control that, and then also turn that into like a superpower. Do you know what I mean? Because if I can use this highly functioning mad brain of mine that thinks all the time just on positives, and to focus on the things that I love to do, you know, I could bring a lot of things into my world, and it can be only positive. So I'm going from all the years of it being a negative thing to it being an absolute superpower kind of thing, and I'm super excited for the future. But I just wanted to tell you guys my story, just in case this helps anyone out, and maybe realizing, you know, you're not alone, and there are lots of other people just like us who think differently in that. And even if you don't have autism, maybe you don't have like a, you know, regular thing, maybe it's that you just overthink, or you got some mental health problems, you know, to, you know, get the help, you know. And if you don't want to talk to people like me, I didn't want to talk to people, you can get your help on YouTube. You can sit there, you can do some meditation, you can do some breath work, and you can work on yourself slowly, and bit by bit, I'm sure, just like me, you can get control of yourself in the long run and turn it around and make it better for yourself. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. Anyway, I'll be dropping a lot more videos in regards to my lifestyle and things that I get up to. But I really wanted to put this one out, and see you in the next one.